The crystal palace of Zephyria trembled as another explosion rocked the outer walls. Lisa Chen pressed her back against the cold stone, watching the human soldier who had saved her daughter's life. Captain Jake Miller stood at the window, his weathered hands gripping his plasma rifle. The scars on his face told stories of countless battles, but his eyes held something different when he looked at the alien queen and her young daughter. "They will break through soon," Queen Zara said, her voice carrying the musical tone of her people. "You have done enough, human. You should leave while you can." Jake turned to face her, his brown eyes meeting her silver ones. "I gave my word, Your Majesty. I will protect Princess Maya until she is safe." The young alien, girl no more than 10 in human years, clutched a small crystal pendant. Her blue skin shimmered with fear as she looked up at the tall human who had become her guardian. 3 days ago, Jake had been just another mercenary hired to escort supplies to this distant planet. Now he found himself the last line of defense between the royal family and the rebel forces that wanted them dead. The rebels called themselves the Iron Claw, and they believed that aliens and humans should never work together. They had already destroyed 2 colonies where humans and Zephyrians lived in peace. Queen Zara had tried to negotiate with them, but they wanted blood. They wanted to make an example of any alien leader who dared to trust humans. "Mama, I am scared," Princess Maya whispered in her native language. The queen knelt beside her daughter, smoothing her silver hair. "The brave human will keep us safe, little star." Jake understood more of their language than he let on. He had spent 2 years on Zephyria, learning their ways. Their culture fascinated him. They were a peaceful people who valued honor and family above all else. The rebels had chosen the wrong target. Another explosion shook the palace closer this time. Jake checked his weapons. 1 plasma rifle, 2 energy pistols, and a vibroblade that had saved his life more times than he could count. "Your Majesty," he said, "there is a service tunnel beneath the throne room. It leads to the old mining caves. If we move now, we can reach my ship." Queen Zara stood gracefully, her royal robes flowing around her tall frame. "What about my people, the servants and guards who stayed to defend us?" "They chose their path," Jake replied, "just like I chose mine." The sound of marching feet echoed through the corridors. The Iron Claw had breached the main gate. Jake moved quickly, barricading the throne room doors with furniture. He had maybe 5 minutes before they broke through. "This way," he said, leading the queen and princess to a hidden panel behind the throne. The tunnel was narrow and dark. Princess Maya clung to her mother's hand as they followed Jake through the winding passage. His helmet light cut through the blackness, showing ancient carvings on the walls. "These tunnels are old," Queen Zara observed. "Older than our palace." "Your ancestors were smart," Jake replied. "They always planned for the worst." They reached a junction where 3 tunnels met. Jake checked his scanner, detecting movement in 2 of the passages. They found the tunnels, he muttered. "We need another way." Queen Zara touched his arm. "There is a way, but it is dangerous. The crystal caves have unstable energy fields." "More dangerous than staying here?" Jake asked. An explosion echoed behind them, followed by angry voices. The rebels were getting closer. "Show me," Jake said. They took the 3rd tunnel, which sloped downward into natural caves. The walls began to glow with blue crystal formations that pulsed with inner light. Princess Maya gasped in wonder despite their danger. The singing stones, Jake could hear it too. A low humming that seemed to come from the crystals themselves. The sound was beautiful, but he could feel the energy in the air making his skin tingle. "These crystals are alive," Queen Zara explained. "They have been here for millions of years. My people believe they hold the memories of our world." The humming grew louder as they went deeper. Jake's scanner went crazy with energy readings, but he pressed on. The rebels were still behind them, and this was their only chance. They emerged into a vast cavern filled with towering crystal spires. The formations created a natural maze of passages and chambers. "Your ship?" Queen Zara asked. Jake pointed to a distant opening, about 2 miles, that way through the crystal forest. They moved carefully between the singing stones. Jake kept his weapon ready. Princess Maya stayed close to her mother, her eyes wide with wonder at the ancient formations. The rebels entered the cavern behind them, their voices echoing off the crystal walls. "Split up," their leader shouted. "Find them." Jake found a hiding spot behind a cluster of blue crystals. He could see the rebels spreading out through the cavern. Their leader was a tall man with metal implants, covering half his face. "Commander Steele," Queen Zara whispered, recognizing him. Jake had heard of Steele. He was a former human military officer who had turned against alien cooperation after losing his family in a terrorist attack. "Stay here," Jake told the Queen and Princess. "I will handle this." He moved through the crystal maze using the formations for cover. The singing stone seemed to respond to his presence, glowing brighter as he passed. The first rebel never saw him coming. Jake's vibroblade took him down silently. The second one managed to shout a warning before Jake's plasma bolt ended his threat. "Human," Steele's voice boomed through the cavern. "You fight for alien scum, why betray your own kind?" Jake stepped into the open, his weapon, trained on Steele, "Because they are better people than you." Steele laughed bitterly. "They will turn on you eventually, they always do." "Not these ones," Jake replied. The battle was quick but intense. Steele was skilled, but Jake had experience fighting, in close quarters. The crystal formations provided cover and concealment, turning the cavern into a three-dimensional battlefield. When the smoke cleared, Jake stood alone among the fallen rebels. Steele lay motionless at his feet. Queen Zara and Princess Maya emerged from hiding. The young girl ran to Jake, hugging his leg. "You saved us," she said in accented English. Jake smiled down at her. "That was the job, Princess." They reached Jake's ship as the sun set over Zephyria. The small cargo vessel was nothing fancy, but it would get them to safety. "Where will you go?" Jake asked as they prepared for departure. Queen Zara was quiet for a long moment. "There are other colonies, other places where humans and my people work together. We will help them. Prepare for what is coming. The Iron Claw will not stop," Jake warned. "They want war between our species. Then we must show them a better way," the Queen replied. "Together." As they lifted off from the crystal caves, Princess Maya pressed her face to the window, watching her homeworld grow smaller. "Will you stay with us?" she asked Jake. "Mama says you are brave like the heroes in the old stories." Jake looked at Queen Zara, who was watching him with those silver eyes. "If your mother wants me to stay," he said. The Queen smiled, the first real smile he had seen from her. "A guardian who keeps his word is rare, Captain Miller. I would be honored if you remained at our side." Jake nodded, settling into the pilot's seat as they jumped to hyperspace. He realized his mercenary days were over. He had found something worth protecting. Princess Maya fell asleep in her mother's arms, while Queen Zara planned their next move. The rebellion would spread, but they would be ready in the crystal caves below. The singing stones continued their ancient song, carrying the memory of courage and honor across the stars.